Hello, fellow kingdom citizens. We are always glad when an atmosphere of worship is created because we know in it God richly dwells and is enthroned. Welcome to the worship experience. I am your host, Pastor Deborah Omale. Our guest today is a multi-talented gospel music minister responsible for putting together the most engaging gospel music compositions and arrangements in our time. He has discovered and nurtured countless talents. He is thriving in the Nigerian gospel music ministry, and today has a long list of collaborations from gospel acts from all around the world. He is the convener of the yearly gospel series called Fearless. We will be sharing in-depth views on worship right after this break. Welcome back. Our guest today is Dr. Tim Godfrey. You are welcome to the worship experience. Ooh. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be interviewing you today, and I trust that we'll get a lot of insights. Thank you so much. Your journey with God is peculiar. It is different. Your style of worship is completely different from any other person that I know. So what is worship to you? What does worship mean for you?
I'll say it in two different ways. Worship simply is where humanity sort of merges or connects with divinity. Sometimes when I want to talk about worship, there's so much about worship. It is not just a saying word, it is a doing word. I think about people when you meet a king or you go to a certain, especially here in Africa, when you get to see the king, you go, you prostrate, you go down. There's something about worship that goes beyond lips. That's what you say. And that takes me to first mention. Most times when I want to talk about stuff, I want to know how it originated. And the first time worship was mentioned in the scripture was between Abraham and Isaac. And Isaac suddenly discovers that this guy called my father is taking me to a journey, and we normally go for this thing regularly, but then when we get there, there's always a sacrifice that's ready. This particular journey, there was no sacrifice, there was no ram, there was no goat, there was nothing. We're just going, and with all of these guys. And then Isaac at some point discovered that the dad told the other guys following them, all of you at this point, stop, don't follow me anymore. It's okay, the journey is okay, you guys wait here. And took him. And he had to ask, excuse me, Dad, where are we going to? And Abraham said, we're going to worship. It just means that you can't take away sacrifice from worship. You know, because there's music now, there's sound, people have boxed up worship as just sound. Worship is a lifestyle. Worship is how much, it has a lot to do with what you give, what you do, your sacrifice, your personality, everything about you. So it's a sacrifice. That's the first time worship was mentioned in the scripture. So if you're worshiping and there's nothing about it that is sacrificial, then you're not worshiping yet.
Amazing. So it's just plain to say that worship is just sacrifice.
Yes.
So not necessarily until you have all the sound.
Music now, that's...
There are different ways, and we can all find our expressions in different ways on how to bow down and reverence and worship God. Your style of ministration is different. Your songs are different. Your music is different. Your rendition is different. Your melody is different. What would you say has influenced your style of music?
Well, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I can still remember the first song I ever wrote. I can still remember the first song I ever composed. And that's a long time. Like, say, I remember, apart from being in a choir when I was young, as a child, even not a teenager yet, I remember the first song was 1990, about 94, thereabouts. That's when I wrote the first song ever. And I remember going to the hymn to pick up a song and rework on it. And if you check what I do, sometimes I just like going back and picking some songs that I feel is still blessing me. Now, I think it's a picture for me of what I see God, how I see God. I mean, so as I try to, every song that comes out from me, I have experienced it first. So from when the melody comes out, if it is it took a lot to bring those words. First, the melody of the song has blessed me. Then I'll start searching, because song creation, we most times think as artists that we create song, or we compose song, or you know how they say, this guy has a hit song, blow it. We never ever create any song. God already made every one of each of those songs. Yes. And what God has done is that he released billions of songs and he put them in our loins. It exists in everybody, whether you're a singer, whether you're not a singer, whether you're an artist. So for me, every day I am asking God, please, keep me in that frequency where I'm able to catch those songs. Now, what happens when you hear a song and you say, I just heard this song once, but it keeps ringing in my head. It's not because you just heard it once. It already existed in you.
And so it's familiar.
Yeah, there's a connection. It resonates. It's familiar. You say, this song, have I heard it somewhere? No, it already exists. So what we do as artists is discover each songs. And when you are in a good place with God, when you're in the right frequency with God, those songs drop. So I'm always in search. So every time I get it, I ask God, how do I interpret it? How do I bring it? Because it's part of the whole thing. Because sometimes we sort of want to rework the song and we miss the originality of what God has given us. So for me, I first stay from the place where I open up my mind. I've written a song before, recorded it, finished everything, and kept it for like 2 years. And then from nowhere, somebody releases exactly the same song. And I'm wondering, how does she? And God reminded me that when I drop those things in the atmosphere, I don't wait for anybody. Yes. You think you're the only one?
Yes.
Everybody's navigating, trying to catch that thing. So for me, it is just God that, and the uniqueness, I have to be original with my personality. I might be a bit quiet out there, but I don't even know what happens when I get on stage. Everything just changes. So I sort of interpret, of course, I had influences, and I won't take that away, from Kirk, Kotka, Hezekiah Walker, Olanda Draper, all of these guys. I was first a music director before even getting into being an artist. So I've gone through everything. I play 5 instruments. I played first. After playing, I sang, did BGV, I became a music director, and then started thinking of being an artist. But every one of this experience, my life journey was the experience, till the point where I felt like I should leave music and go and hustle and get money, because nobody was supporting me. And then every one of those efforts failed. God was drilling me. So most of my song, you hear a bit of experiences in it. You hear a bit of life in it. And in Nigeria, we don't write much about our life experiences. We most likely just write about worship alone. So sometimes what God wants people to hear is that you have gone through what they're going through now. Testimony. And then when they hear, they say, you went through that. And then they're able to connect. So everything I write about my life is about process. It's about God dealing with me. It's about worship. It's just about anything. And sometimes I'm going through pain. God is asking me to write Thanksgiving, and I don't understand. And later I understand that He's trying to tell me, write this song because you're going to get out of this pain, and this will be the Thanksgiving song you're going to use. So God has dealt with me in different ways, and that's how everything, like the puzzle, sort of gets to fix itself.
Sometimes when I watch your videos, you're somebody who carries so many people along. And you can tell that these people with you are not just there just to sing and back up. You can tell they're living their lives with you. In as much as you have all of this glory and all of these celebrations, has it always been like that? Did you always have people who from the get-go had faith, was willing to work hard with you, was willing to have the sleepless night with you, to get to where you are now? Has it always been this rosy?
No, people that know my story know that it has never. In fact, one of my biggest inspiration, fortunately for me, I don't know, some people can't really take it, is the fact that nobody believed in me. It was so bad that, because in my family, there has never been in existence anybody around music before. So I'm the first to ever do music in my family. So they never understood, what did you say? Who survives? Who lives? Who does music as career? Yeah. you know, I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, and what they do is just business. Why don't you just go and learn, stay under
Trade
somebody?
or something.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we are so poor that, like I always say, poor people looked at us and just pitied us. You know, that's a whole new level where people that are poor look at you and say, man, yeah. So nothing in the church that I played, nobody gave me a chance when I started playing in the church. When I went to the headquarters of my church to play, and I was trying to just get into the choir, it was difficult. When I got into the choir, there were people that everybody looked at and said, these people are people that will do well. I was not like in the first 20, nothing close. I knew something was special. I knew I had it, but nobody ever saw it. Family did not see it. Church did not see it. Till
Friends.
nobody knew it. Nobody saw anything. So it has to be God for me to still do what I do. So for people to now finally start connecting and believing and all of those things, God had to first deal with me as an individual to understand that, yes, all of these people will come, but my focus, your focus, you know that it has to be God. Yes. And when
I like that.
Coming
it
around,
has to be God.
Yeah, it has to
so
be God.
No one shares his glory. No one said, oh, from day one, I was giving him money to do his albums. From day one, I was praying with him. From day one, I believed, I was encouraging him.
Exactly what I say. I said it one day in one concert, and it was so, because of when I shared my story, the way God dealt with me, he dealt with me in a way that no man can take the glory for what he's done.
For your testimony today.
And
that's just
I
the
keep
best.
telling people, that's the best place to be with God, where nobody can take glory for what he is doing in your life. God can use people and all of those things, but God will work it out in a way that, I remember somebody giving me my first, I think 2.5 million or something. And I kept thanking the lady for about 5 years. And the lady called me one day and said, please.
It's okay.
It's okay. I refused. The 6th year, that's okay. Let me explain to you why I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Because that literally shifted a lot of things. And that's a strange story. I have plenty of stories. But the lady now told me that she does not even know why God told her to do that. She can't explain it. Because we didn't have any relationship or any friendship. We just met like 2 weeks later. She heard some of my songs and said, what? And God started pushing her, and she struggled with it. And when she came to give me, because normally people don't give me gifts, so I don't expect anything. I honestly thought it was 20,000.
Oh my God, that's so, people don't give you gifts, and so you don't expect anything.
Yeah, I mean, which
even
is another
at
best
that
place.
time.
Even till now, interestingly, people think that, you would have been getting gifts from, but people don't give me gifts. Because now people think that somebody, like, everybody thinks that everybody's giving me, and nobody's giving me.
So nobody.
Yeah, and, you know, but the lady now told me that, you know what, that even what she has done now, it's possible that when God is going to bless her, she'll be wondering, what has she done? She will not remember that the way God works is so different. So that I should never ever think of her as, that she didn't even know what she did. It wasn't small money. So she didn't know what she did. That there must be something that I've done somewhere that God is trying to bless me for. Maybe I waited for something. So that's how the process goes round. So nobody ever believed in me. Nobody. So everything that has happened in my life, from being a conductor to being a houseboy, to, you know, hawking around the streets, to even getting to Lagos and sleeping under the bridge in Oshodi, to all of those things, it wouldn't have been anybody. When I decided to go to Lagos, I was in a bus, all this luxurious bus those days, 22 years ago. And guess what? You know, those days you can sit. There is the first rows, there is the back ones, then there is attachments. Attachment is small chairs you put in the middle of this thing. And then in that attachment, there's different level of attachment. There's standing attachment, there's sitting attachment.
My God.
I was in the standing attachment, and I was behind. So all the smoke, it wasn't an AC bus. All those all those buses those days. And that's how I got to Lagos. And when I got to Lagos, there was nowhere to go to. I was hanging out with all those guys on the streets and smoking and all of those things. So if that same person is standing here with you, or sitting here with you, and that person is able to travel the world, that person is able to do collaboration with the biggest artists you can think about, it has to be God. And it's even scary for me, because every time I still look back and say, what? How did this happen? It's just, I'm not telling you something that people will just say and say, wow, you're a testimony. No, even me, I'm still in shock.
Yes. But was there a time when you felt like walking away?
So many times.
Did you come to a breaking point?
So many times.
What was your worst?
There are plenty worse. Let me just give you an example. When colleagues that know you very well come and tell you that, man, this thing is not working. No.
People actually walked up to you.
I'm not joking. Those people are still big superstars today.
And told you that it's not working.
I think you should just do something else. You've been doing this thing for so long, and nothing has happened. The way God built me, He built me that I got used to pain. I got used to
Nobody
pain.
should get used to pain.
Like, no, I literally got used to pain. I lived under depression for 4 years. I would lock myself, not just in the sitting room. I would go to my room, enter the toilet of my room, turn off all the lights, lock myself up. I was that in pain. Like, I literally lived every day feeling worse about why I'm, and I'll still get out, still go and minister. People will still shout, but I'll still come back.
But in your secret place you were, in your closet, you were not happy.
I was a mess. And I kept going on like that until God started dealing with me at a whole different level.
What was your turning point? What point did you get out and you opened up that door and you came out and you became the Team Godfrey that you are today?
I think it was when God told me to tell my story. You know, I was, at some point, I was doing some of the big things. I've ministered in all the big stages. I've traveled everywhere, but it was not there. I knew that this is not. I felt at some point I actually gave up to the point where I said maybe I'm not supposed to be one of those artists that would do maybe big songs or any of those things. Maybe I'm just meant to do quality stuff and all of those things. But I remember when I was doing Fearless 2016, 17, 18, and the same kind of situation. We're going to tour about 5 different states, and everybody walked out like 2 weeks before. Sponsors, everything. To the point where the last hope what I had was even airline. You know how you expect that, yes. Okay, you have sorted out the airline. We're traveling with international artists. I was with Travis Green. And then a week before, the airline called and said they are not doing again. So I had nothing. And then I sat down and I was devastated because it's going to be a major embarrassment. These guys have managed to pay for their flight to come into Nigeria. Where are they going to stay? Hotel, everything. And God just reminded me some things and said that the church where you're doing these events, before, you felt like you were not the kind of people that should go to the church and worship. I couldn't enter the church. I was scared. I felt like I was not good enough to enter the church. And you're not just entering just to go and serve. You are hosting a concert in the church where everybody's gathering, where the set man is the one involved with it. I said, oh, okay. I mean, God was just trying to remind me how far he has brought me. That devil blinded me all through. And which is one of the things the devil does. Devil will make you feel like God has never been good to you.
Do you know, yesterday I was sharing a message at D-Wings, and I reminded, and the Holy Spirit just put it in my heart. He said, remind them of every time I came through for them that even now they've forgotten. There was one time you had one issue, you had one problem, you had one health challenge. At that time, it looked like that was the only thing that was your problem in the world. But today you've gone across, you've had your testimony. Some of you have shared even your testimony. Then another challenge will come, which is a season in your life. And then you forget every other thing.
Bible talked about it. Bible says that don't pay attention to this immediate pain, this immediate adversity, because you don't know the glory that is coming ahead of you. So for me, it was focusing on every bad thing. And God reminded me, by the way, as I was just thinking about that, and God told me that, you know what, how about where you're coming from? How about when you were born in a place where there was no electricity, there was no road, no third road, Nasarawa village, nothing was there. You grew up from that place. Pigs were your neighbors. They slept around. We woke up in the morning, open door, you see different pigs lying in front of our house because it was gutter. And all of these things. Do you know how far I brought you? Remember hawking? Remember having just one meal a day? Remember being a conductor that your dad is a driver? Remember being a houseboy for 3 years, cooking and starving yourself remember being abused in that, being a houseboy where they will use wire and blood will be coming out from your body for not doing anything because maybe you drank water from the fridge. You're not allowed to open the fridge. You're not allowed to turn on the TV. You're not allowed to play radio. Remember all of these things? Remember you got to the point where you got to Lagos and everything was a mess. Remember that when, and then God was just reminding me, hold on. You have your own house. We're talking about you not having, and guess what? You are bringing this kind of international artists. Do you remember all of those things? And that's where I stopped.
Something that nobody has done.
Nobody has done. In fact, even churches struggle to do it.
Yes.
And I sat down.
And not even because they couldn't afford it. They could afford it, but the trust issue.
It takes a lot to do that.
The trust issue, security issue, and a lot of other things. And you were able to do
that. That tour was even one of the, you know, when we finish everything, that's when I remember that. Did we just do this? Because you're touring to cities where sometimes there's no flight between one city and another. You have to go by road. We don't have any security vehicle. Anyways, and God just told me, that's when I just took pen and wrote, you've done so much for me, I cannot tell it all. If I had 10,000 tongues, it was in the midst of that pain that that song came. And that's what changed everything. And at that point, I was going to stop that fear. I was going to cancel. I was going to do everything.
But you kept pushing.
I just don't know what.
Tenacity,
but and then everything, that song became what switched everything. I'm talking about when you see people in India singing the song, you're wondering how. So if you talk about a turning point, that would be one major turning point, because it wasn't it wasn't something that it would have been. And here's what God taught me, that, you know what, enjoy pain. That's why I said, you say pain is not good, but because when you go to the gym and your gym instructor is telling you, you know how you do 12, 20, 30, and at that last point and they're saying, more, try more, push more, 5 more, you do 1 more, yeah. And God was telling me that, do you know that in the midst of that pain, that's when the result of that thing you're doing comes out.
If you don't give up.
And most times we want to stop when that pain starts. Yes. But God is saying, get through. And the result that comes in your body, because your muscles are saying, you want to change the way we work. We're comfortable here. And you would have done 20. That 20, the guy is still saying, okay. But when you start feeling that pain, that's when the guy is pushing you to do more. So God is saying that the pain resides in a blessing. So the blessing resides in pain. So if you can cross to the other side, you will see it. And guess what God does? God does not lose the battle. And one sweet part is that God does not waste a battle. God does not lose a battle.
And God does not waste
a battle. Let me explain to you how. Children of Israel, they came to the Red Sea and they were confused. Oh my God, what do we do? Why? They started complaining. And God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? And everything opened and they crossed. The same thing that opened that allowed them pass was the same thing that swallowed the Egyptian.
You're talking.
God did not lose the battle, and God did not waste it. That pain, God used that. The other one is the children of Israel. They went around Jericho and they were screaming. The wall that became a problem for them was the wall that was like a bridge that they crossed to enter. God does not lose, and God does not waste battles. So if you go through anything and you don't gain something from that pain, that means it's not God. There must be something there must be a blessing in it. So you can't lose if you are sure about that. So what gives me assurance that God, Bible says that he will put no more in you than you can bear. And Bible says that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. So even when I lose, I know that there's a plan. That's what happened to Jesus. When Jesus died,
it felt like it was the end.
The gate of hell, they were partying. And they didn't know that dying was God.
That was part of the plan
to save us. So when you go through pain and shame and difficulty and storm, rejection, whatever you want to call it, depression, there is always a plan. If God allowed it, he knows, number one, that he can handle it. I mean, check out Job, where God was bragging. I always tell God, please don't brag with me like that too. Devil was just trolling, and God calls.
Have you seen my servant?
What kind of mouth is that? Can you leave me alone? Let me just be by myself like this. And after bragging, God did not stop at bragging. God said, go and mess everything up apart from his soul.
Yes.
I said, God, if you are bragging, try the next neighbor, leave me, because I don't want. Job lost everything to the point where even the only thing that the devil left, that was his wife, was a tool. Curse God and die.
Yes.
And Job stayed. So sometimes, except God does not know that you can, everything that happens to me that becomes painful or rejection or whatever you call it, I know that God is somewhere bragging about me. If he allowed it, he knows. And like you said, I have history with him. I've seen him do a lot before. And if he has done it before, he will surely do it again.
I just got a ministration in that. What's your history with God? I'm actually going to do it.
I actually have a song with that. Yeah.
So it just blends. I'll probably use that as an opening.
Powerful song that, I mean, it talks about we having history with God. The thing is that we forget about, like you said.
We forget.
The other way, when he made a way, when he healed us, when he delivered us, when he saved us,
and we begin to focus on the pain of the
because
moment.
As humans, we always will focus on the pain, and we focus on pain so much that we forget about everything that he has done.
And it's unfair.
And it's so unfair. So every time God reminds us, except you don't have history with me, I've seen him do so much. That, I mean, I can't be afraid.
We can't tell it all.
So what I tell people is that I think the devil has given up on me. Because I am absolutely sure, no, I know Because there's nothing the devil can do.
That hasn't done to you.
I can imagine the demons planning to go and take care of them. They will say, leave that one. There's nothing you're going to do him that will make him, that one, just it's waste of time. Let's go and focus on other people. Because I've seen worst of worst. And sometimes I still see it today.
Yes.
And nothing changed my resolve. I'm so focused on where I'm going to. Like, if you say everybody's going this way, not like there's a problem, me, I will not follow. I'll say, I want to go the other way.
And that's what I was going to ask. A lot of people want to follow the crowd. Besides following the crowd, they want to do what is normal, even though it is not them.
Or what's in vogue.
Or what is in vogue. Yeah. You're not like that. It's very clear.
I hate it.
From your videos to everything I can think of. How do you not care and just do what you want to do?
So my confidence is always, and I do that in a very subtle way. You don't even notice until you see some of things. And people have looked at, whether it's on my page on Instagram or what I do, like you said, videos and everything, look at me and say, you know, there are some things that I've done that if anybody tries in the gospel sect, the person will go. I mean, I've done collaboration that people have tried, and that's the end of their career. So my point is that I feel like because my concept about religion is so different, people miss it. I'm focused on relationship as opposed to religion. So the way I see God, you know, when God says, I am that I am, God is so powerful that you can't give him a name. If you say he's your healer, it's because of what you're going through at that moment. Somebody is calling him a provider.
Yes.
Somebody is calling him a deliverer.
A warrior.
So he's so many things at the same time. So I understand the place where I know that God, I need to show the other side of God that people don't like seeing.
What gives you that confidence? What is it that you're standing on? Is there a word? For me, I'm always like, be the difference. Be the difference in any way you can. In anything you find yourself doing, just be different. What is that word that you want to just tell us, tell your followers, tell people watching? What gives you the confidence to be yourself? Because that is being yourself.
Yes.
And not everybody, especially in religion, can do that.
Yes. I think most of us hear about God and hear about everything about God, but we don't know him ourselves. So if God says, I will not leave you nor forsake you, he means it. If he says, in my own matter, he does not sleep or slumber. If he says, even my mistakes are part of the plan, I just want to just go with his will. So my confidence basically is that, you know, I like the scriptures. This is my most favorite scripture. No eyes have seen, no ears have heard. It has not entered the mind of anyone what God. So when it says no eyes have seen, I'm calculating what? That means if I'm doing what people have seen before, I'm not in God's purpose. So I'm always looking for what has never been in existence. You know, it's important we understand that God never gives us even the thing the way it is. I mean, God will not, I mean, this was not this. God did not create this chair. God created tree.
Yes.
And God expected us to figure out and make this. God, it was, I mean, this, what we are sitting like this, God did not create it. So God expects us to keep discovering and rediscovering, keep inventing and reinventing. What has happened with religion is that we're all boxed up into one thing. Like you said, when one style of music starts reigning, especially for gospel, everybody goes to that style. Everybody follows. Now, the thing is that, do you even understand? Everybody in this room right now, like me, I have a small ear. Those days they yab me and I cry about it. But there's something about somebody, I mean, I tell people if you have bigger ear than my own, then you have that, you must have the feather of an eagle. It is too big. If you're taller than me, you're too tall. If you're bigger than me, you're too big.
So your own description is not defining anything.
See, my relationship with God is what matters. So I just dare to challenge God. And you know what? How did Peter just even become so special in the Bible? Say, walk, come. Every other person was in the boat. And Peter decided to move.
Yeah.
I choose to move. I am so sure that God would not leave me nor forsake me. I'm in the business of finding, it bothers me every time if I stay, and that's why I get bored easily, number one. If you're not to move at my pace, all of my guys, if I have like 10 projects I'm doing, each person handling one gets tired. I'm doing all 10. And I'm just cool. Yesterday, I was with one of your guys, and whilst we were moving, I was doing another meeting. I was doing a lecture. I had Phil Thompson on. Yes, and all these things happens at the same time till I find time to sleep and wake up the next morning. So the result that people see every time, and guess what? It's just the beginning. Honestly, and I'm not trying to do all those motivational things. I've just scratched what God is about to do. The rest of the things that is about to happen next, in the next phase of my life, is scary for me. And then, because I know that if it's not bigger than me, then God is not in it. Yes. How do you look for God's help when you can control it, when you can handle it? Oh, wow. So I'm always looking for things that I cannot handle, things that I cannot control, things that are way, I mean, I'm talking about things that if I explain to anybody, they'll say, are you out of your mind? If somebody tells me, are you out of mind? I say, yes, this is it.
Oh, wow. It's been just so inspiring talking to you. But just one last question. For those that are upcoming, that have looked at Tim Godfrey and be like, oh, one day I want to be like Tim Godfrey. I want to be a big gospel minister. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to travel the world like Tim. What advice would you give to them for those that are just starting?
First, I probably will look into the camera and talk. First, listen, guys. Let me tell you about myself. I never ever got into what I'm doing because of fame, because of fortune. No, never. Like, the first time somebody gave me honorarium, I was asking, what is it for? I was shocked. I was saying, what am I supposed to do with it? Because I never knew that anybody would even, it wasn't about making money. So you have to have that at the back of your mind. Because if that's your motivation, then you will give up the first 6 months. You would give up. So first thing, understand that also, it's okay to know Tim Godfrey and learn and be inspired by him, listen to his music, but the thing people look for also is originality. There has to be something. Listen, there's so many things happening in the world today that if you try to become what somebody else is, everybody will walk around you. You'll always be a second person. You'll never be a first. So you look for, and there is always something about you that is different. We are so busy trying to be somebody else that we'll lose everything about ourselves. We're so busy focusing on even wrong things. And I'm saying wrong things like as little as my friend did not like my picture on Instagram. You get upset. Did she see the picture that I posted that she did not even comment? You start keeping malice. The devil has kept us so busy with things that are trivial, things that are not important, that you lose. If you want to do what I did, sometimes I was rehearsing for 8 hours non-stop. 8 hours, every day. We had, when people do challenge of doing fine face, challenge of doing, we did a challenge for 3 months that we should rehearse 8 hours every day. So in 24 hours, apart from eating, apart from going to hustle and everything, we have 8 hours where we'll stay on the piano, where we'll try to write. We did it with some of my friends. Those are the things you have to do. If you want to make, if I did 8 hours when I was starting and I'm here, and if you want to beat what I'm doing, you might have to do 12 hours. Because right now, if you're flying the world we live today, if you come back to where you were before, you'll probably be just running. If you're running, if you come back to where you started from, you'll probably be walking. If you're walking, you come back to where you were before, you'll probably be standing. And if you're standing in the world with the pace of how things are going today, if you come back, you will see you have gone back. Nothing waits for anybody. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to have sleepless nights. I still have sleepless nights today. So there is no shortcut, because everything is shortcut now. Microwave, quick. Everybody wants it to be done quickly. And if you jump up, they say you go down. If you grow up, you stay there. So find a way of growing and nurturing your gift and working hard. Be committed to it. Music is like a woman. You leave her, she leaves you. She likes attention. You have to pay attention. In fact, every career you have to pay attention. What we're doing here might look small, but in another 1 year, it might be something that everybody is watching around the world. Consistency, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. Even the devil will give up on you.
I like that, because I was also ministering on Thursday during one of our deliverance services. I was like, get so used to fighting for what you believe in that you look into the mirror and be like, devil, now you go tired.
Yeah. And he gets tired.
You know, and he will just be like this one, just like you said. If it's Tim, just leave him. If it's this person, just leave her, because she will just keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Devil gets tired.
Thank you so much. You have been inspiring, you have been explosive, and you have been bare. I like it when people are just themselves and they tell us as it is, because that's when people can actually connect and learn from. And trust me, I know a lot of people have learned from this interview.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No two episode is the same. We find new and glorious insights into worship every other time. I have been blessed, and I sure hope you have been too. To watch exciting episodes of the Worship Experience with Pastor Deborah Omale, log on to the YouTube link on the screen, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join us and let our worship rise continuously. God bless you for watching. Thank you so much.